"Human, I came here because my daughter wants to see you," said the alien woman. The small human colony, perched on the edge of the only river that cut through the barren land, was winding down for the night. Smoke from the cooking fires spiraled into the pink sky, and the faint hum of machines filled the air. It was the kind of quiet that made humans feel both safe and small. Dr. Elias Kane stood outside his small research lab, watching the horizon. He had always been drawn to the stars, fascinated by the mysteries beyond the solar systems humans had already explored. Even here at the very edge of known space, his curiosity was insatiable. He rubbed his beard and checked his tablet for any unusual readings. Nothing. Just the usual quiet of a planet that seemed almost untouched by intelligent life until now. A sudden shimmer broke the horizon, a thin line of light growing rapidly into something much larger. Elias squinted. The hum of machines in the colony seemed to deepen, as if the planet itself sensed something arriving. Then, with a soft yet powerful vibration that could be felt in the chest, a spacecraft descended from the sky. It was unlike any design he had ever seen. Sleek, metallic, and almost organic, the ship seemed alive, its surface shifting like liquid silver. People started gathering, whispering nervously. Some ran to alert the colony's security team. Children peeked from behind buildings, their eyes wide with fear and wonder. Elias stood frozen, heart-pounding. He had seen alien ships in simulations and old data archives, but nothing prepared him for the real thing. The ship landed without a sound, almost floating above the rocky ground before settling gently. A hatch opened, revealing a figure stepping out. She was humanoid but taller than any human, her skin pale with a soft luminescence. Her hair, long and silver, shimmered like moonlight, and her eyes were a deep violet. She wore clothing that glimmered with subtle patterns, changing colors as she moved. There was something regal about her, but also something familiar in the way she carried herself. Elias' curiosity overcame fear. He took a cautious step forward as the woman looked directly at him. Her voice when she spoke was calm and clear, perfectly translated into Basic, the common language humans used for interstellar communication. "Human, I came here because my daughter wants to see you." The words struck him like a lightning bolt. For a moment he thought he had misheard her. "She wants to see me," but her expression was serious, almost pleading. The colony's security chief, Lieutenant Mara Quinn, stepped forward, placing herself between Elias and the alien. "Who are you? Why are you here?" she demanded. Her voice was steady, but the slight tremor betrayed her unease. "My name is Lyra," the alien said, bowing slightly. "I come in peace. My daughter, she is very ill. I have heard of humans, of your resilience and creativity. She wishes to meet one." Elias exchanged a glance with Mara. The statement was strange, even impossible sounding. Humans were known across the galaxy for many things, but to be requested specifically by an alien child, that was new. Yet there was a sincerity in Lyra's voice he could not ignore. "Your daughter, she's sick?" Elias asked cautiously. Lyra nodded. "Yes, the medicine of my people, it cannot save her, but she believes humans hold a gift, a hope, something beyond our understanding. I have come to ask for your guidance." The colony was silent. Whispers spread like wildfire. Humans had long known of alien civilizations, but direct contact was rare and usually distant. This was something different. And then there was Elias, the scientist whose experiments with human adaptability had earned him a reputation across several colonies. Apparently, Lyra's daughter had chosen him. "You'll meet her?" Lyra asked gently, her eyes softening. "It is all she asks." Elias hesitated. He had responsibilities here, a colony to protect, experiments to continue, and people depending on him. Yet he felt an irresistible pull, a strange responsibility he could not explain. I will meet her," he said finally. "But first we need to ensure this is safe." "For all of us?" Lyra inclined her head. "Of course, I expect nothing less." Lieutenant Quinn and the security team carefully approached the alien vessel, scanning it for any threats. Their instruments showed nothing harmful. No weapons, no dangerous emissions. Lyra remained calm, watching the humans with patience. Her presence alone seemed to command respect. The colony council gathered to discuss the situation. They debated fiercely, torn between caution and the unprecedented opportunity before them. Some feared a trap, while others saw the chance for diplomacy and knowledge exchange. Elias, ever curious and confident in human adaptability, argued in favor of meeting the child. Finally, the council agreed to allow a small, controlled meeting. Elias would accompany Lyra to her vessel, while the colony's security would monitor from a safe distance. It was risky, but nothing ventured, nothing gained. As the night deepened, Elias prepared for the journey. He packed his research tools, a few personal items, and his tablet. He wondered what kind of illness the child might have. He wondered why an alien child would seek a human, and he wondered if humans could truly help in ways that no alien technology could. Lyra greeted him at the vessel's hatch. Her hands were elegant, her movements graceful. "Are you ready, human?" she asked, a faint smile touching her lips. Elias nodded. "I'm ready, lead the way." The interior of the vessel was unlike anything Elias had seen. Organic curves blended with advanced machinery. Soft lights pulsed along the walls, changing colors in harmony with the ship's movement. It felt alive, as if the vessel itself were aware of their presence. They traveled in silence, the hum of the engines filling the gaps between them. Finally, they arrived at a small chamber bathed in warm, soft light. Lyra gestured toward a figure seated on a glowing platform. Elias froze. A child looked up at him. Mara was human in appearance, but her eyes held something extraordinary, a depth of intelligence and curiosity beyond her years. She studied him carefully, as if trying to understand everything about him in a single glance. "You're human," she said softly, her voice full of wonder. "Yes," Elias replied, managing a smile. "And you're Mara?" She nodded. "I've read about humans for a long time. I wanted to see if the stories were true." Elias was taken aback. She spoke with the confidence of someone far older than her age. "And are they?" he asked cautiously. Mara's eyes sparkled. "I think I want to find out with you." The moment was strange and quiet, almost magical. Elias realized that this child, despite her illness, held hope, a hope that humans could rise to challenges in ways no one else could. And for the first time, he understood why Lyra had come. Humans were more than what technology could measure. They were curiosity, courage, and creativity made flesh. Lyra spoke then, softly. "She believes in your kind, Elias. She believes humans can help where others cannot." Elias swallowed. The weight of responsibility pressed on him, but he also felt a surge of determination. Humans had survived, adapted, and thrived in impossible conditions for centuries. Perhaps, here on the edge of the galaxy, they could do it again. The night passed in a blur of introductions and cautious observations. Elias learned about Mara's illness, a condition that seemed impervious to even Lyra's advanced medicine. Yet she radiated energy, curiosity, and a desire to understand. Elias began to formulate a plan, not just to help her survive, but to unlock something greater. A combination of human adaptability and alien knowledge that could redefine both species' understanding of life. As the twin suns of Virely arose again, casting golden light across the land, Elias stepped outside the vessel, looking at the colony below. Humans had faced impossible odds before. They had survived and even thrived where others would have perished. Perhaps here in this new chapter they would prove it once more, not just for themselves, but for a child who believed in them. Lyra joined him, her expression thoughtful. "She is remarkable," she said. "And so are you human. I hope we can learn together." Elias nodded, feeling the weight of the adventure ahead. It would not be easy. The galaxy was full of unknown dangers, and Mara's condition might challenge everything he knew about medicine and life itself. But for the first time in years, he felt a spark of excitement, the kind that only came when humans faced the impossible and refused to back down. And on Virlia, humanity's story was about to take a bold, unexpected turn. The interior of Lyra's vessel was quiet, filled only with the soft hum of the ship's engines. Light shifted along the walls, bathing the room in warm, golden tones. Elias Kane followed Lyra cautiously, each step echoing slightly in the smooth, metallic corridors. His mind raced with questions. What exactly was wrong with this child? Why had she asked specifically for him? Mara remained seated on a soft, glowing platform in the center of a small chamber. She did not look sick, at least not in the way Elias expected. She was pale, but her eyes were bright, full of curiosity and intelligence that belied her fragile appearance. She studied him with a mixture of wonder and expectation, as if she had waited a long time for this moment. Lyra stepped aside and gestured toward the child. "Elias," she said gently, "this is Mara. She has heard of your work and believes you can help her in ways we cannot." Elias knelt down slightly, bringing himself closer to her level. Hello, Mara, he said softly. I'm honored to meet you. I want to understand how I can help. Mara smiled faintly, a gesture that lit up her face. I read about humans, she said, her voice calm but full of energy. I read how you survive in the hardest places, how you think in ways that no machine can predict. I want to see if humans really can do the impossible. Elia's heart quickened. Humans had always prided themselves on their creativity and resilience, but to have someone, especially from another world, acknowledge it in this way, it was humbling. He could feel a spark of pride mixed with a deep sense of responsibility. Why me? He asked. Why not someone else from your people? Lyra looked at him with solemn eyes. We have tried everything, Elias. Our medicine, our technology, it works in most cases, but not for Mara. She is unique. And she believes that humans have something she needs, ingenuity, hope, and a willingness to try things others would not. Elias nodded slowly. I understand, but I need to know exactly what I'm dealing with. Mara's smile faded slightly, replaced with a determined expression. I have a condition, she said. It affects my energy, my cells, nothing your people have would normally work. But I've studied humans. Your biology is different. You survive diseases and harsh conditions in ways we cannot. I think there is something in you that can help me survive. Elias' mind raced. He had treated many diseases in humans and animals, but alien biology was another level entirely. Yet her words were not just about medicine, they were about adaptability. She wanted to see if humans could approach the problem in a way no advanced technology could. Lyra spoke again. Mara's illness is unusual. I do not know if it can be cured, but she has faith in your people's ability to find solutions where others fail. Elias swallowed hard. The responsibility was immense. If he failed, the child might not survive, but if he succeeded, it would be a triumph not just for science, but for humanity itself. All right, Elias said finally, taking a deep breath. I need to understand your biology first. I'll start with small tests, nothing invasive. I'll study your cells, your energy levels, and see if we can find a way to stabilize your condition. Mara's eyes sparkled. I'm ready, I want to try. Lyra nodded approvingly. She has waited long for this. She is strong, Elias. Stronger than you might think. The next hours were filled with careful observation and tests. Elias worked with tools adapted for alien biology, instruments that could scan cells, measure energy flows, and detect subtle chemical reactions. Mara was patient and cooperative, following his instructions with the focus of a child decades older. As he worked, Elias began to notice something extraordinary. Mara's cells seemed highly adaptable, responding to small environmental changes in ways that reminded him of human survival mechanisms. She could adjust her body's energy levels slightly when prompted, something most advanced species could not do naturally. This is incredible, Elias muttered to Lyra. Her biology, it's almost like a human in some ways, flexible, resilient. I've never seen anything like it. Lyra looked hopeful but cautious. We have always known she is special, but you see it too. That is why she sought you out. For the next few days, Elias and Mara worked together. He introduced small challenges, variations in light, temperature, and energy input, to see how her body reacted. Each time, Mara adapted, her cells responding in ways even her own people could not predict. Elias documented every reaction, marveling at the ingenuity of human biology mirrored in her adaptability. During breaks, Mara asked questions about humans, about history, about survival, about why they never gave up even when the odds were against them. She listened to his stories of explorers who survived deserts, oceans, and space disasters, of communities that rebuilt after natural disasters, of people who faced diseases and won. You humans, you never give up, Mara said one evening, her voice soft. Even when things seem hopeless, Elias smiled. We have to, it's what keeps us alive. We survive not because we are the strongest, but because we think, adapt, and care for each other. That is our strength. Mara nodded, absorbing every word. Elias could see her hope growing, a fragile yet brilliant flame that needed nurturing. It reminded him why humans were respected across galaxies. Their ingenuity was not just in machines or technology, but in their minds and hearts. One day, while examining Mara's cells under a scanning device, Elias noticed something remarkable. Her energy flows were unstable, but they could be guided with small interventions. If he could find the right combination of stimuli, he might stabilize her condition long enough for her body to adapt. "This is promising," he said aloud, excitement breaking through his cautious demeanor. "Her body is responding slowly, but it's responding." Lyra, standing beside him, exhaled a breath she had been holding. "Do you think it will work?" she asked. Elias looked at Mara, who was reading an alien book, her eyes bright with curiosity. "I think humans have a chance. Not because we have better technology, but because we have creativity and adaptability. Things no machine or advanced medicine can fully replicate. Mara's faith and our ingenuity might just give her a chance." Mara looked up at him, a small smile on her face. "I want to try everything humans can do. I want to learn to adapt to survive." Elias felt a surge of determination. This was not just about saving a child, it was about proving the potential of humanity. The galaxy might underestimate humans, but here, on the edge of known space, they could demonstrate their true strength. Over the next week, Elias designed experiments that combined human methods with alien technology. He introduced small doses of energy stimulation, environmental adjustments, and exercises to strengthen her adaptive responses. Mara endured every trial with courage, sometimes tiring, but never giving up. One evening, as they reviewed the data, Elias realized something remarkable. Mara's condition was stabilizing. Her cells were learning to adapt to the interventions, and her energy levels were rising. Lyra, who had watched silently, could barely contain her joy. This is more than I hoped for," she said, tears welling in her eyes. "You are showing her what humans can do. You are giving her hope." Elias shook his head, humbled. "No, she is showing me. Her resilience, her will to survive, that's what makes humans powerful. It's not just me, it's her spirit and our shared effort." Mara smiled faintly, her strength returning. "I feel stronger. I feel like I can keep going." That night, Elias looked out at the stars from the vessel's observation deck. Virelia's twin suns had set, leaving a sky full of distant galaxies and possibilities. He realized that humanity's strength was not just survival. It was the ability to inspire hope, to face impossible challenges, and to adapt in ways others could not predict. Lyra joined him, her hand brushing his shoulder lightly. "You have done more than medicine," she said softly. "You have reminded Mara and me that humans are remarkable." Elias smiled, feeling the weight of the work ahead, but also a quiet pride. Humans had always faced the impossible, and now, on this distant world, they were doing it again. Not just for themselves, but for a child who believed in them. As he turned back toward Mara's chamber, Elias knew this was only the beginning. The galaxy was full of unknowns, dangers, and mysteries. But humans had hope, creativity, and courage. And sometimes that was enough to change everything. The days aboard Lyra's vessel were filled with careful study, small experiments, and long conversations. Elias Kane spent hours observing Mara, recording how her body responded to each change in environment or stimuli. But more than that, he began to understand the child's mind. She thought like a human, but with the perspective of someone who had never truly lived among humans. Her curiosity was boundless, and her desire to learn almost urgent. Mara's condition was still fragile. Her energy levels fluctuated unpredictably, and some nights she became pale and weak, prompting Elias to stay by her side for long hours. Yet each day she grew more capable of managing these fluctuations. Her body seemed to adapt to the interventions, slowly learning how to regulate itself. One morning, Elias entered the chamber to find Mara sitting on the glowing platform, sketching patterns on a holographic pad. She was silent, focused, but when she saw him, her eyes lit up. "Good morning, Elias," she said softly. "I tried something last night. I focused on controlling my energy like you taught me." Elias knelt beside her. "And did it help?" "Yes," Mara said, nodding. "Not fully, but I felt stronger, like my body was listening to me." Lyra watched from a distance, her expression proud. "She is learning faster than I expected," she said. "Your methods, they resonate with her." Elias smiled faintly. "It's not just my methods. Humans survive because we try, fail, and try again. That's what makes us strong. I see it in her now." For the next several days, they focused on combining human adaptability with alien precision. Elias designed exercises that challenged Mara's energy regulation. He adjusted light cycles, varied the gravity simulation in the chamber, and even introduced small puzzles that required her to think while controlling her body's energy. Every task was a lesson in resilience. Mara tackled each challenge with determination. When a simple puzzle caused her energy to spike dangerously, Elias guided her gently. Try again, slowly. Focus on your breathing. Your body is listening. Her violet eyes narrowed in concentration, and after a few tense moments, her energy stabilized. I did it, she whispered, a triumphant smile spreading across her face. That's excellent, Elias said, heart swelling with pride. You are learning faster than I could have imagined. Humans have a way of adapting that can be surprisingly effective. Lyra stepped closer, a soft glow emanating from her presence. Your people are remarkable, she said to Elias. Even in small ways, they influence the world around them. Myra's recovery is proof. Elias shook his head, modest. It's not me, it's human ingenuity. And it's Mara's spirit. She believes in the impossible, and that is what makes the impossible possible. One afternoon, as Elias was reviewing data from the latest energy regulation exercise, he noticed an unusual pattern. Mara's energy spikes seemed to correlate with emotional stimuli. Fear, excitement, and even joy triggered subtle shifts in her cellular activity. Humans were emotional creatures, and perhaps their adaptability was tied to their emotions in ways other species did not understand. He shared his findings with Mara. Your body, it reacts to your feelings, he explained. Humans are similar. When we are afraid or excited, our bodies change. Your body is learning, but emotions are part of that learning. Mara tilted her head, thoughtful. So, my feelings can help me get stronger. Yes, Elias said, smiling. If you learn to control them, you can guide your body more effectively. For the next few days, Elias introduced new exercises that combined emotional focus with physical control. Mara would visualize calmness or strength while adjusting her energy levels. She learned to remain calm when her energy spiked, and to summon excitement to boost her strength when it dipped. Slowly, her body became more predictable, more capable. But it was not just physical adaptation that Elias observed. Mara's mind absorbed human knowledge quickly. She asked questions about survival strategies, human history, and even the mistakes humans had made. She wanted to understand not just how humans survived, but why. Humans fail sometimes, Elias said one day as they watched the distant stars from the observation deck. But we always try again. We adapt. We learn from our mistakes. That's why we survive, not because we are perfect, but because we never give up. Mara nodded. I understand. Your people, they keep hope alive, even when things are hard. Elias felt a strange pride. It was one thing to read about human resilience in history or to teach it in simulations. It was another to see it reflected in the eyes of someone from another species, someone who believed that humanity held the key to survival. As the week passed, their bond grew stronger. Mara began to share stories of her own experiences, of the stars she had seen from her home planet, of the technology her people used, and the limits they faced. Elias listened carefully, fascinated by her perspective. You see, Mara said one evening, my people can do amazing things, but we are limited by rules, by what our technology allows. Humans, you think differently. You find new ways to survive. Elias nodded. That is our gift, and now you are learning it too. You are adapting, thinking creatively, and solving problems your species has never faced before. That is extraordinary. Lyra observed silently, occasionally adding insights about Mara's condition. She marveled at how humans approached challenges. They were not as advanced as her people in technology, but their creativity, their willingness to experiment, and their emotional intelligence made them powerful in ways she had never fully appreciated. One day, as they conducted a complex energy regulation exercise, Mara's system suddenly spiked beyond expected levels. Alarms echoed softly in the chamber, and the soft glow around her intensified. Elias moved quickly, guiding her through breathing exercises, visualization, and concentration techniques. Focus, Mara. Control your energy, he shouted calmly, his hands hovering near her in case he needed to intervene. Her eyes squeezed shut, her small hands gripping the platform. Slowly, the glow dimmed, her energy stabilizing under her own control. She opened her eyes, breathing heavily but smiling triumphantly. I did it, she exclaimed, her voice filled with joy. Elias laughed, relief flooding him. Yes, you did it. That is human ingenuity at work, your mind guiding your body just like we survive against impossible odds. Lyra stepped forward, her eyes glistening. I have never seen such control, she said softly. Your people, they are extraordinary. Mara has learned from the best. Over the next few days, Elias continued to refine their techniques. They introduced subtle environmental variations, changes in temperature, gravity simulations, and even controlled stressors to test Mara's adaptability. Each challenge made her stronger, her body and mind learning to respond in ways that were once impossible. Mara's fascination with humans grew. She asked about simple things, how humans worked together in communities, how they solved problems with limited resources, how they survived harsh climates. Elias answered patiently, sharing stories of Earth, of colonies on distant planets, of explorers who survived against all odds. "You humans, you are amazing," Mara said one evening, her small hands folded in her lap. "You make impossible things happen. I want to be like that." Elias smiled. "You are learning already. Humans survive not because we have the strongest technology, but because we adapt, we think, and we never give up. And now you are becoming like us in that way." Lyra watched them both, her heart full. She had traveled across the galaxy seeking help for her daughter, but she had not expected to see such a close bond form so quickly. Humans were not only capable of saving lives, they inspired hope, courage, and determination. As the twin suns of Violia set once more, Elias and Mara stood at the observation deck looking at the stars. "The galaxy is vast," Elias said softly, "and full of challenges, but humans, we find ways to survive, and now so will you." Mara nodded, her violet eyes shining. "I will try, I will adapt, I will survive." Elias felt a surge of pride and hope. This child, fragile yet strong, curious yet brave, embodied the very best of humanity, even if she was not human. And in teaching her, he realized, humanity's spirit extended beyond their own species. Creativity, courage, and resilience were not just traits of humans, they were forces that could change the galaxy. That night, as Mara slept peacefully for the first time without complications, Elias sat outside the vessel, staring at the stars. Humanity's story was one of survival, creativity, and courage. And now it was a story being shared across the stars, with a young alien girl learning to think like a human. The galaxy was watching, and humanity, through its courage, ingenuity, and heart, was ready to rise. The calm aboard Lyra's vessel had lasted for only a few weeks. Mara's health was improving steadily, and Elias Kane was finally beginning to see real progress in her adaptability. They had developed routines that combined human creativity with alien precision. Mara could now regulate her energy levels with greater control, and her curiosity about humans grew each day. She was learning fast, faster than Elias had imagined possible. But peace in the galaxy was always fragile. One morning, while Elias was reviewing Mara's energy data in the observation chamber, the vessel's alert system suddenly sounded. A red light flashed across the room, accompanied by a low, resonant hum. Lyra appeared instantly, her face sharp with concern. "Elias," she said, her voice tense, "we have incoming ships. They are not from our sector. They are armed, and they are approaching fast." Elias' heart skipped a beat. He had hoped that Mara's recovery would continue without external interference. But the galaxy had its dangers, and humans often faced threats far greater than themselves. He glanced at Mara, who was calm but curious. She had grown used to challenges, but this was different. "Who are they?" Elias asked. Lyra's eyes narrowed. "A rival faction. They believe humans are unpredictable, dangerous, and possibly a threat. They know of Mara's condition and our work. They may want to interfere." Elias felt a surge of determination. Humans thrived under pressure, and he had faced many impossible challenges in his life. "Then we prepare. We protect Mara, and we show them what humans can do." Lyra nodded. She activated the vessel's defense protocols, shields shimmering around the ship. But she knew that even her advanced technology might not stop an aggressive fleet. This would be a test of human ingenuity as much as alien power. The first ships appeared on the sensors, sleek, dark vessels moving in formation, weapons glinting in the light of Violia's twin suns. Elias quickly assessed the situation. The attackers had superior firepower and speed. A direct confrontation would be disastrous, but humans did not fight direct battles when the odds were against them. Humans adapted. Humans improvised. "We can't match them directly," Elias said, turning to Lyra. "But we can use the terrain. The planet's surface is rough with mountains and canyons. We can draw them in, use traps, and control the battlefield." Lyra raised an eyebrow. "You would put humans in direct danger." Elias shook his head. "Not directly." We use strategy, not brute force. We use what humans do best, thinking, improvising, and surprising the enemy. The plan took shape quickly. Elias and Lyra coordinated with the colony's security team, creating decoys and diversion paths across the planet's surface. Drones were sent to simulate the ship's presence in multiple locations. They set up temporary shielded zones and traps, using the natural environment to their advantage. Mara watched closely, absorbing every detail. "Humans fight differently," she said. "You don't just rely on weapons. You use your mind, your environment, your creativity." Elias smiled. "Exactly. And that's why humans survive where others fail. It's not just strength. It's thinking ahead, seeing possibilities, and adapting faster than the enemy expects." The rival ships approached. Sensors detected their weapons locking on. The first salvo fired, and the sky lit up with explosions. Elias' plan went into action. The decoys activated, and the enemy ships split their fire, unsure of which target was real. The colony's defenses joined in, launching countermeasures while Elias and Lyra coordinated maneuvers from the vessel. Mara, seated safely inside the vessel, watched intently. She had learned how humans adapted to challenges, but seeing it in action was different. Drones darted through canyons, drawing fire, while hidden turrets and traps slowed the enemy advance. Elias' voice came through the comms. "Use the terrain, force them to overcommit, make them chase shadows." Lyra nodded in approval. "Your strategies are very human." Unpredictable yet effective. The battle raged for hours. Elias remained calm, issuing instructions, adjusting strategies, and improvising as the enemy reacted. The rival ships were advanced, but they had never faced humans' resourcefulness. Humans adapted, and the enemy's predictable patterns became their weakness. At one point, a ship attempted to flank the colony's defenses, hoping to strike directly at the vessel. Elias anticipated it. "Mara's room is safe, but we can't let them get closer." "Activate the canyon traps. Draw them in." Massive rocks fell from the canyon walls, triggered remotely. The attacking ship was caught in the collapse, unable to maneuver. The remaining ships hesitated, giving Elias and Lyra time to coordinate a counterattack. Mara's eyes widened. "You planned all of this on the fly?" Elias chuckled softly. "Yes, humans are good at improvising. We can adapt faster than you expect. It's part of survival. You'll see that in yourself too, Mara. Your adaptability will grow even more after this." The enemy began to retreat, realizing they had underestimated the humans. They were disciplined but rigid. Humans were flexible, unpredictable, and clever. Every move Elias had made exploited this, turning disadvantage into victory. When the last enemy ship fled, Lyra allowed herself to exhale. "They will not return soon," she said, relief evident in her voice. "Your tactics, they saved us." Elias nodded, tired but exhilarated. "Humans survive because we never stop thinking, never stop adapting, and never give up. That's why we are dangerous to those who assume they can predict us." Mara stepped forward, her small frame filled with newfound admiration. "I understand now. Humans, you really can do the impossible." Elias smiled, ruffling her hair gently. "You're learning fast, Mara, and soon you'll be able to adapt like this too. You'll face challenges no one expects, and you'll find ways through them." Over the next few days, the colony worked to repair minor damages from the attack. The humans and Lyra's team shared knowledge, blending strategies and techniques. Elias took every opportunity to teach Mara more about human adaptability, how humans used creativity to solve problems, how they worked together to overcome impossible odds, and how hope could inspire courage even in the darkest moments. Lyra observed these lessons closely. She realized that humans were more than survivors. They were problem solvers, innovators, and leaders in their own way. The attack had revealed a strength that even advanced civilizations could not ignore. Humans were capable of thinking in ways that no algorithm or machine could predict. One evening, as the twin suns set over the rocky horizon, Elias and Mara stood at the observation deck. The sky was calm again, the distant stars twinkling like scattered diamonds. Mara looked at him with determination. "I want to be like that," she said. "I want to face challenges and survive the human way." Elias nodded. "You are learning, Mara. Every day you adapt, every day you grow stronger. Humans survive because we believe in possibilities, even when others see none. That is what you are learning." Lyra joined them, placing a hand on Mara's shoulder. "You are remarkable, my daughter. You have learned from humans, and now you are stronger than ever. The galaxy may have dangers, but you are ready. Elias smiled, feeling a surge of pride and hope. Humans had faced impossible odds before, and here on the edge of the galaxy, they had once again proved their ingenuity. The attack had been a test, and humanity had passed, not with brute strength, but with intelligence, creativity, and courage. As the stars of Virelia's night sky glimmered above them, Elias realized something profound. Humans were more than survivors. They were a force of ingenuity and adaptability that could inspire even alien civilizations. And now, through Mara, that spirit would reach further than ever before. The galaxy was vast, full of dangers and mysteries, but humans, through determination, creativity, and heart, were ready to face them all. And Mara, she was learning to become one of them.